Right, folks, we're ready for another first round match in this year's Virtual Pool 4 US Open. We'll have a quick look at the bracket. We had a great match last night between Albinario and Bill. It went all the way, and Bill eventually, trailing 12 racks to 6, came back and won it 16-15. And if you want to watch that, you can watch it on my channel. But the match that we're waiting on is the match between Larry and Acero, and that's further down the bracket. That's the match there that we're going to be watching, hopefully. I think the two players are here. We've got about a minute before the room goes up. And Larry's in warming up. Acero is in warming up. And we're about good to go. Larry from the United States. And Acero, well, he has a Japanese flag, so we assume he's Japanese. And another pretty good player. The room should be up any second. And remember, it's alternate break. There are no jump queues. So that'll make it interesting. It certainly made last night's match interesting. The room is up. Just waiting on the two players going in. And the two players will get an audible warning while they're in their practice rooms to let them know that the room is up. There's one player in. Right, the two players are in. We're about to lag off. I presume that's Larry in the right. Now, I don't see Acero playing a lot of 9-ball. He's a 2,200 rated player though, but we'll soon find out. So Larry breaking off. And the 3-ball has gone. The other thing I discovered last night is that golden breaks are on, so any 9-ball goes down in the break, you win the rack. And Larry's got no shot in the one, so he's looking to just kick this. And that'll do as a reasonable safety. And Acero got that far too thick. And Larry's got the angle to come over for the 2. Well, there's the slight problem's going to be getting from the 4 to the 5, and it all hinges on the angle again. Larry might have to go long up and down the table if he doesn't get the angle on this 4-ball on the right hand side. Ideally, if he could come up to here, well, he's going to have to go long. Let's have a look what he's got. Right, up and down the table. And as long as he avoids that 7 ball, he's got plenty of room, he should be able to do that. Well, he's managed to draw it across. He's left himself high. I thought he would have had to go down the table. That's a good shot. And, well, he's not quite in control here. Now, if he's coming across it, he wants to avoid hitting the 7. Leave the 7 into the left middle, I would assume. And he's going to cross twice. That's a good shot. You can just drop the 7 in. Still be able to hold for the 8 by the looks of it. Maybe just a little touch of inside English here off that top rail. Just to check the cue ball and stop it running over to the right. And he's managed to do that. So Larry's off the mark, off and running. And remember, Larry broke, so now it's Acero's break. Now, what went in there? 4 ball has gone. And a shot in the 1. So let's see what Acero can do in reply. Well, he could probably do a little soft draw over to the right, or he could, as long as he misses the 5 ball, he could come off the bottom rail. Got 2 ways of doing this. Well, he's most certainly going up and down the table here. There's one shot you can do with a bit of inside English and come that way, but the danger is that middle pocket. He's checked it the other way to avoid that, and that was a good shot. Played that with right English, and the right English means that when the cue ball hits the rail, instead of going that way, it comes back that way. And this is a delicate little one. How is that? 5. Well, it's off the rail, so he's okay as far as that goes. And this looks to be tracking nice. Well, Acero straight away isn't showing any signs that he's going to struggle for the pace of the table. Both players had a warm-up before the match started. And that's still a good angle in the 7. Doesn't want to get into the jaws. And he's left a little angle again. He can drop over behind the 9. Oh dear. Well, there's a mistake. And he's got away with it. And Larry, as long as he avoids the double kiss, he can edge the 8 ball across along that top rail and get the cue ball away. That's, I think, the only shot he's got. If he tries to kick behind it, it'd be very unlikely to get it. Oh, he's managed to get it in. Well, I should have zoomed in on that to see if you could actually see enough to pot it. Well, that's a bonus. An unexpected bonus, because Acero was looking good. And that's a rack against the head there for Larry. Dry break. And this is a little bit awkward over this 5-ball. But he doesn't really have to do anything. Just concentrate and pot in the 1. He's got to be on the 2. And Acero's got to remedy the situation. Well, he can draw across for the 4 into the same pocket as the 3. Plenty of room. Oh dear. Well, maybe a bit of nerves. That's going to drop behind the 4. Now, as a scratch on into the middle here, he's got to watch that. He'd be very unlucky not to have a shot in the 5, because the 5's hanging over the pocket more or less, but he needs to watch the scratch into that middle pocket. And a lot of check on that cue ball. As soon as it hit that top rail, it checked straight with the right hand English. I think Larry can squeeze between the 9 and the 7 here. He's got enough angle. Oh, he doesn't want to hook himself behind the 9. Let's see what he's done. Oh, he's okay. I think he can get there. Oh, I don't think Larry's convinced. I thought he could get to the cutting angle. And clearly he couldn't. Has he got the second prize? Yes, he has. Now, if Acero kicks this from this side, he's in danger of scratching the cue ball. So he needs to get this full in the face. He's playing it with left English. Well, he went all out for the cut. It was a good effort. Well, the shot to get on the 9 would be the long shot into this bottom corner. Larry's going for the cut. He's looked at it, but he's going the other way. A little soft draw. He's overcooked it. Well, this is Acero's chance. He'll be desperate to get rid of that 0 early on. Oh dear. Well, got on the 9. But if you've seen the streams before, you know what happens with these pockets when you try and steal that little bit of angle. And Larry's got enough pace there to come up for the 9. So we've seen a couple of mistakes here by Acero early on. And he's going to have to settle down. So Larry's 3-0 in front. First to 16. Acero breaks. He pots the 5 and the 8. And he's got no real shot in the 1, although he can certainly find cover with the cue ball. He can go all out for the bank. And that's a nice shot. Now there's plenty of room to come off there, and down for the 3. He looks as if he's playing this with top. Well, he's got there. I think he's a bit short though. He's left this short, and this is a dodgy shot again. Of course, the other problem is where the 4 ball is. So immediately, Acero's got himself under pressure. And that 3 ball, it's not tight to the rail. And it's a good cut. Now he needs a bit of luck, and that pace is good. That's finished nice on the 4. Now he can't surely leave himself a combo in that 7 and 9 because it's nowhere near set, and he has to find the path to the 7, and he's almost got it. He can drop the 6 in, but he's either going to leave the 7 long, and even into the middle that's tight, and this has got to be an accurate shot. Can he get by the 9? And I think he's almost on it. He should be okay though. Well, barring a disaster, Acero's finally got his first rack in the board. Might just take him a couple of racks to get settled in. So Larry leading 3-1 and Larry breaking off in rack number 5. It's a dry one. One doesn't pass the 4. Yeah, well, Strain, last year I gave Steve the settings. It should have been at least 21. It should have been the same as last year. Now, when I used to run it, it used to be 21 in the first round, 31 in the second round, and then 41 in the semi-finals, and then the first to 43 in the final. But I don't know. I still think 16 is too short for a virtual pool game. The racks go over quite quickly. And Acero's missed the kick in the 1. But we still had a good match last night with Albie and Mr. Bill. I mean, the other problem is these guys, these champions that lose in the first round, when they end up going to the loser's side, they've only got a race to 11. And it doesn't matter who they're playing at, if they go 3 or 4 racks behind, the pressure's really on to stay in the tournament. Meanwhile, Larry's found himself on the 2. He's got a narrow window to get on the 3 though. He's either going to get it between the 4 and the 9 or finish in the top rail. So this calls for accuracy. And Larry, I think, has played that pretty good. And this is another delicate one. He's going to come back, avoid the 9 ball, bring the cue ball back up, and again the pace is good. Nice touch. Well, it doesn't look as if there should be a problem here. The only problem is getting from the 8 to the 9. Remember what we say, straight on the 8 isn't good. Any sort of angle on the 8 is perfect. Now what the hell's Larry doing here? I presume I thought he was going to go for the 8 there. Now he's got the angle. Now the 2 ways of doing it are drawing it back, and he needs to watch the scratch though. He could go forward and go around, and he's got the line perfect. So Acero's comeback was short-lived. Larry got ball in hand and he's run out. Now I'm not too sure, but I think Acero is more a billiard player. I might be wrong. I think he's more of a 3-cushion player. I think I've seen him playing billiards. Again, I haven't seen him that much, but he's certainly not a 9-ball player. He doesn't play it a lot from what I've seen online. But he'll certainly have to pick it up pretty quickly to stay in this match. And the other problem is that push out there. I think he panicked. He's got a 30-second shot clock and an extension of 15 seconds, and the push out was not good because he's basically given Larry a free shot in the 1. That's another good positional shot, well controlled. Well, path of the cue ball has to go that way off this sport. And he sent it to the jaw. He left himself a little bit more angle in that than he really would have liked there. Now can Acero see the 4? He can. Oh, he needs to miss that 9. Well, he's got an easy enough safety. Now can he actually... He can't get to any potting angle in that 5. And he's certainly going to be ambitious as he's going to try anything with this 5 ball. He's trying to billiard it off the 7, I think. Oh dear. Oh, he's got away with it. I thought he'd scratched. That was a good shot. But he's got to back it up. He has to run out. One good shot might win him the rack, but he's still got to do the rest of the business. Yeah, that was tough. And every time Acero makes these single mistakes, he's paying for it by a rack. But Larry can only do what's put in front of him. He can only clear the table. And so far, he's been doing that. And that puts even more pressure on Acero because he knows he can't make mistakes. He's got to take those chances when he gets them. When you're in a tournament like this and you come up against the class players, you're going to be found out. Larry gets the 6 ball. He's got no shot in the 1, but he'll try and hide over behind the 3 and 9 here, I think. Didn't quite make the angle. Acero has a bank. It looks a good bank. Now, this is like deja vu. He played a good shot in the last rack. That little combo to get himself started. He's played a nice little bank. He's sitting pretty in the 2. There are no obstacles in his way here. And he's got a problem immediately because that 9 ball is a bit of a hindrance. He's managed to avoid it. He played that well. He's going to need another good shot though, because the 5 is not passing the 9. Now he's got to make a straight choice. He's going to have to try and get on the 5, or he's going to leave an ambitious combo on the 5-9. He's trying to squeeze it down with a little bit of spin. And now the problem here is this is tight if he's going to try and play it in the middle. And he needs to generate the pace to go over for the 7, so, well, that's a good shot. That wasn't easy. Now, how does that look? Because he's on the rail and he's having to dig. So he's redeemed himself. Managed to get himself another rack. breaking off in rack number 8. And the ball has gone into the middle pocket. The 8 ball's gone, but he's got no shot. He can play the bank though. I think if he can see enough of the 1, he can still play the bank. And didn't want to hit the 2, but he's going to have to pull out another bank. He could even thin cut it. Oh, he's overcooked it. So Acero's just struggling to get a rhythm. He's having these little errors, and each time he's made the error, he's been punished, but not this time. Larry missed the bank. And that will give Acero a little bit of encouragement if he can get himself on this 3. And he's got to find that window. And he'd have been hooked on it anyway. So once again, Larry's back in. A little delicate one. He might just run the cue ball around that, off that rail, just to generate the angle and just nudge the 2 in. That's what he's done. Now, does the 4 go past the 6? It doesn't, so the middle pocket's blocked. So Larry's got to go behind the 7 ball and out into the middle of the table. Probably take the 4 into the same pocket. He needs to travel. Well, he's almost there. Now, can he avoid hitting the 6? Oh, he's just played a little nudge. Same problem again though, that 9 ball's just a hindrance where it is. And this is where it could go wrong. And a lot of inside English again from Larry, just to stop the cue ball in its tracks. He's still not in perfect position here. That's a good shot. And got the angle on the 7 to get back up the table. And that will do nicely. So it's another lesson for Acero. You make the mistake and Larry's going to clear up. It's now 6-2. Larry breaking as well in rack number 9. 6 ball goes into the bottom left. Now Acero's going to find himself in trouble in a second, unless Larry is convincing himself he can pot the one. It does go, but it's very tight. Now, is he going to hit a rail? Yes, he is. I think that 4 ball is in the way. Acero's going to have to probably check the cue ball to try and get the angle to hit the 1. And it wasn't on. So Larry's safety has gotten ball in hand. Now, where that cue ball is right now, that would be perfect for Larry to pot the 3 and just stun for the 4. Because he has to be able to hold for that 5 ball. The 7 and the 9 ball are just in an awkward place. And that angle that he's got there is pretty good. He can just stun across. Oh, well, these pockets, they're unforgiving. Now, Shibo has arrived online, and Shibo is in the next match that we're going to stream today, provided his opponent turns up. And that's going to be at 1900 GMT. And I've completely forgotten who he's playing, but we'll find out in a second. So Acero can see the 5, and he can drop behind the 7 for it in the same pocket, or he can play a really delicate one. No, he's taking in the same pocket. Well, this is just about pace. Nice angle in the 8 ball. Get that cue ball over to the left side. So Acero is going to win the rack. And we'll have a quick look at the bracket. Just to remind ourselves who Shibo's playing. And where is that one in the bracket? Is it further down? Well, Shibo is going to be playing Hazard in a round 2 match, and that's at 7 PM my time, GMT. So that is an hour and 20 minutes away. And those 2 players are fairly evenly matched. Well, this is another good opportunity. Can Acero get another one back? Well, that would have been a good shot, provided he didn't get himself stuck in the rail. So now he's probably going to have to run the cue ball, unless he starts running the cue ball off the 7 ball. Let's have a look and see what he's got here. Well, he has to be careful with this. The angle is not good on that 7 ball. The cue ball wants to track to the corner pocket here. And he's played the obvious mistake. And, well, the commentator's eye spotted that one a mile away. Unfortunately for Acero, he didn't. And it's a gift for Larry. Larry's now 7-3 up, and that was a basic mistake. Any 9-baller instinctively can see that that is tracking to the pocket, and he took the risk, and it didn't pay off, unfortunately. But he's paid a heavy price. He's back to 4 behind. And Acero, no shot. Looking for a push now. He needs to get a better push shot here. And if he just pushes anywhere where Larry can get an easy shot in the one, he's going to find himself in trouble. Well, that's a better shot. Oh, and Larry trying a little cheeky one there. That was a good attempt. He tried to just nudge the 1 ball past the 9. And it's clipped to 9. Oh. Well, it's most certainly going to have to be a 7-8 combo here. And where the 6 ball is, that's going to help Acero, provided he doesn't block himself out off with this 9 ball. But we've yet to get there. Let's have a quick look at this combo. Well, it's not dead set, but it's easy enough to make. But the important ones, when he pots the 6, he has to judge the pace. Now, if he cuts the 6 and the cue ball comes up, if he overhits it, he's going to find himself there. If he gets a bit delicate, he could find himself there. He has to find that spot there to be able to play this 7. And I think, let's have a look. How's he finished? Well, he's got an angle. Let's see what he does. Is he going to try and come back? Well, he's took the risk, and it's worked out for him. He's nudged the 7. And that's a good shot. And he can just let the cue ball run into the 9. He's played the little stunt. And Acero is just hanging on to Larry's coattails here. He's not letting him get away. And it's Acero's break. 3 balls going in. 7 balls going in, and he's got a shot in the 1. And it's going to have to be a 2-6 combo if he can get the cue ball up the table. But he's going to have to play a good shot to do that, because the 8 ball's a blocker. And look at the gap that he's got. He's only got about 3 or 4 inches there. Now, is he going to try and play it this way? Can he make enough of that 2 ball to play the combo? It's very hard to say whether he can cut that 2 off the rail. Maybe be able to cut it off the rail. I think he can do it. I think he can just nudge it off the rail onto the 6. And that's what he's done. That was a good shot. don't try and get delicate with this. You've got to come across the table twice here. You've got to get the power to pot that too and get the cue ball moving. And avoid the 9. And that was well done. Well, Acero's looking at winning 2 racks in a row here. So this 9 to trail by 2. And Larry to break off again. And rack number 13. 2 ball goes in. 5's hanging over the corner pocket, so that's an easy starter for Larry because he can just nudge the 1 onto that. And the 3 ball passes the 8 into the middle. And Larry's looking at the pot and the 3 into the middle, but that's not the problem. The problem will arise if he doesn't get a good angle to get on down for the 4. And he's okay. He's got the angle. Maybe he had a wee bit less angle than he really needed. He had to stun that hard. And I think the 4's on the rail. Nope, it's a half an inch off the rail. Oh, now didn't want the collision with the 8 ball. He's in no man's land. Now if he goes for the cut into the corner, he's going to nudge the 9. He might even billiard the 9 in here. And he's got the cut. And he's got a cut back on this 7. Now I don't see how he can avoid hitting one of these balls here. The cue ball's path would go that way. Sorry, that way. And more than likely to hit the 8 ball. It looks like it. I had a little bit of right English there, and that's checked the cue ball perfect. That was an excellent shot. A little feather of right hand English just changed the angle of the cue ball and avoided the hit. So Larry is away again and opens up the gap to 3. Well, now we've certainly got No easy starter. The one ball's hidden behind the 8. Larry's got no shot other than a push out. I suppose he could have a kick at the 1. Let's have a look. He could have an ambitious kick at the 1 and could possibly send it along the rail, but he's just playing the push. And he's left a tempter for Acero, because the 1 will cut, I think. Yes, it does cut. Let's see whether he's going for all-out attack or looking for a safety. Well, he went for the pot. And the only thing that might save him is the fact that the cue ball's nudged the 9 ball over towards the 3 and locked it up. Now, Acero's almost got himself back into it there. He doesn't want to be over ambitious and start giving racks away again. Well, Larry's trying to get right over to the rail. Now, it's whether he's going to try and play the little billiard off the 3 and nudge the 9 down to the pocket, or do that and play a safe. He's done the wise shot. And Acero can't get to the 3. He's going to try and check it, and that's excellent. Lots of left-hand English. Made the angle, and he's got it reasonably safe. Well, Larry went for it. How's his luck? Well, if Acero can push the 3 past that 6, he'll have Larry in trouble. He should have the cue ball nailed to the 6 ball. Well, he's left a gap. I don't think Larry can see the edge of that, surely. Let's see. No, he can't. The old kick and hope. And he's got away with it. That will do. Oh, that's an excellent shot. Picked the angle to kick the 3. Kicked it in. He's got a thin one in the 4. He's going to nudge the 9. Now what Acero's hoping here is that he hits the 9 full in the face and it kills the cue ball. And at least leaves him a shot in the 5. But he's playing a lot of bottom. And the 9. Oh, I thought it was going to come up and block the 5. He's okay. Now it's into a blind pocket because he's not looking at the pocket. He's looking at the 5 ball, and he's got to pick that potting angle and go for it. Well, these type of shots I always like to go forward. Let the cue ball run, because if you overdo it, you're going to hit the rail and come up, and you're still going to have a shot in the 7. And if you underhit it, you're still going to have a shot. Well, this looks fairly straightforward, as long as he doesn't scratch in the right middle pocket. And he had a much better angle than I thought, so he's sitting pretty on the 9. Now, are we going to see something that we could describe as a turning point in the match? We haven't seen it yet, but Acero's back to trailing by just the 2, and the break is back to Larry in rack number 15. Well, this time it's dry again. Now, I don't think you can see the cut angle on that one. I don't think he can get to it, so he's looking at lining up the bank again. It looks very likely. The bank into the top right hand corner. And Larry might have the same problem. He can't get to the potting angle, but he can certainly put Acero in trouble here. Try and hide the cue ball on that top rail. Oh, and he's stuck it right behind the 6. And this is a toughie. Now, this is where the experienced player would be looking to try and tie something up here. He's got to concede the ball in hand. Well, I think he tried to nudge the 3 towards the 6 and 5 to tie them up, but he's actually just brushed it past. So Larry's having a look at the table. He's picking his path to run the table, which is what you should do. You know, the one ball that could be the little bit of trouble could be the 5 ball. I mean, it pots into that right hand corner once the 3's out the way, but it's getting there that might be the problem. Larry's out of line now. He's out of line. This is going to take a very good shot. He's cutting it into the top right. And that's excellent because he's nailed it and he's on the 5. Now, what does Run Out at Rob want to ask me? I hope it's not something personal because this is streaming live. Anyway, Larry's still at the table. Needs another good shot here because he's got the wrong angle in the 7. The cue ball's going to have to move. Well, he's played this. He's not left it easy, put it that way. Because the angle was wrong. He played it with inside English to try and check the cue ball off the bottom rail just to hold it from running away. And he's left a tester on the 8 ball. Still expect him to get it though. And where's the cue ball going? He's okay. So Larry's opening up the gap again. Larry's now leading 9-6 now. Something has to happen here for Acero to try and narrow this gap and get himself in the match. Acero's broke off. The 1 ball and the 5 ball have gone. Now he's got a nasty little cut in the 2, but he can actually billiard the 3 in as well if he tries. He's played that well. Now here's the problem, finding the window to get to the 4. The 4's isolated in the top right hand corner pocket, but the 7 ball and the 8 ball are just in the wrong place. Now he's taken that out of the equation, but he's left himself another awkward one in the 4. Now he's playing this with a lot of spin, and he's got the pace. And that's perfect. That is an excellent positional shot. And if he goes forward, he can go around the angles. And he's sitting nice in the 7. And watch the middle pocket. He's going to come across the other side. That's good thinking. So again, Acero looks as if he's going to come back to just a 2-rack deficit. But he's unable to get any closer. Larry's breaking off in rack number... What the hell rack are we in? 17. Now, what have we lost this time? The 5 and the 7 have gone, and Larry's got a little nudge in the 1 into the middle pocket. And the cue ball... Well, I don't know whether he thinks he can hold this cue ball and draw across towards the 3 ball. It looks as if that's what he's trying. Has he got the pace? Yes, he's almost there. A little bit of inside English, left-hand English. Let's see if we can do that. Let's have a look. Yeah, if he plays this with left-hand English, he can check the cue ball and come back that way. It looks as if he's going that way. Or trying to come up the middle. No, he's going the long way. Well, this has been the pattern for the whole match so far. Acero's fallen behind, and although he's picking up the odd rack, Larry's just keeping him at distance. No prizes for guessing what Larry's doing here. A little gentle roll so that the 4 just nudges the 6 in and leave the 4 near the pocket. So Larry's going to be the first player to get to double figures. Oh, I think he's a bit straight here. Let's have a look. Yeah, oh no, he's okay. He can just drop the 8 in. Probably much rather come up the table though if he could, but it's never nice having to play the 9 that length down the rail. There's always a danger of nudging the jaw. Is he going to try and squeeze any angle? No, he's not taking any risk, but he's left it awkward. He didn't get to the rail. This isn't a gimme. And there's a mistake. Now the 9's coming over the middle. Now that might be significant, because that was a poor shot by Larry. All the room just to roll onto that rail and underhit it. And he's gifted the rack to Acero, and Acero has the break, and he's only trailing by 1 now. And that could be, well, we mentioned earlier, we're looking for a turning point in this match, but you have to be able to pick them out, and that might be it. And Acero has to back it up again. And he has to be, as I said as well, not over ambitious. I mean, this cuts along the rail, but it's going to be difficult to get on the 2. He might even nudge into the 9 here if he's going to really be aggressive and try and hold for the 2. When he's decided to try and get it safe, and he's got too much on it. The 1 ball just peeking out. And of course Larry is just desperate to amend the situation. He'll be looking to try and kill this rack off at this visit. And that was excellent again. It's amazing how Larry's got that touch for that type of shot, and yet a simpler shot like rolling the cue ball to the rail off that 8 ball, he couldn't get there. So as gentle as he can play this. Oh dear, now. Well, that still cuts. Well, does it? Oh, it still cuts. It's very thin. Now anything can happen. Where the cue ball goes, nobody knows. But Larry's going to have to pull out another cracker on the 6 ball. Well, that was an excellent shot again from Larry, under pressure, leaving himself awkward, and he played it dead weight to hold for the 7. So he's made amends, and he's opened a gap again. It's back to 2 racks, and he's the first player to get to double figures. Well, it's dry. The table's wide open. And Acero has to run out. That's exactly what he's got in front of him. No margin for error. And no reason why he shouldn't run out. Well, it looks as if he can play the little draw up the left-hand rail in behind it, the 5. Oh, he's nudged the 5, but he's okay. That wasn't what he wanted, but he's landed okay. Now, anything but straight on this 7 ball. The cue ball needs to be where the 6 ball is right now. That's the sort of angle. He's followed that line, and he's nice angle in the 7 to drop onto the 8. And if there was a worse place to put the cue ball, though, it's right in front of the 9. I think he's all right. Yeah. So the dry break from Larry, and it was a good break, wide open table, and Acero has done what was required. He had to get the run out. Now he's got the 4 ball, and he's got a shot in the 1. Oh, he's hit it into the jaw. How's his luck? Not too good. And the 3 goes past the 6 and the 8. Now, where does Larry pot the 1 ball, though? Well, if he pots the 1 and goes that way and comes back this way, he might have the 2 into the middle. It's hard to say. Oh, he's played it with lots of inside. Has he got the pace? He's got it pretty nigh perfect. Well, Larry's not playing the percentage shot. He's going all out for the right shot. And when you go all out for the right shot, you have to get it right. And he got it perfect on that too. Well, digging down and playing the draw, and he's got away with it. Sent the 5 ball into the jaw. Now, can Acero get this safe though? I don't see where he can avoid hitting this 8-ball, and that's not going to do him any favours, I don't think. He's going to try and get distance from this. He's played it with a bit of spin, and that'll do. He's played it well. That was well controlled. And he's got the cover. So Larry, a straight up and down kick in the 5. And with any luck, he might kick it in. Oh, he's having second thoughts. Well, he might have been wiser to go for the kick, but that's hindsight. Everybody's an expert when it comes to that. All he's done is nudge the 5 along the rail over the middle, so it's a chance. And Acero can draw off the 6. It looks straightforward enough to come across for the 7. Oh dear, he's trying to be too delicate. And he's hung up the 6. I think he was trying to be too fiddly there. He should have played the stun across. That looked a lot easier to do, to get on the 7. Having said that though, Larry's done his best to put him in no man's land. Well, the 7 most certainly goes in this time. Where's the cue ball going to end up on this 8-ball though? And the answer is not ideal. Now Acero has to go for the pot. If he goes for the pot, he's going to be perfect on the 9. If he plays the bank, he's taking a risk. He might get the double bank though, but the pot is a shot to go for. Cut the 8-ball in. Cue ball runs round naturally for the 9. And so this time we've got something significant in the match, because Acero has tied it up 10-all. And Larry's breaking off in rack number 21. And these balls have spread nice, but nothing's gone in. But he's got cover. And now this needs a good push out. Now is Acero going to leave Larry a teaser here? Because if Larry can get to the right side of that 1, which he can, he might play the billiard off the 1 onto the 7. He might play the cut on the 1 onto the 7. Or he might even try and tuck the cue ball in behind the 7. There's a very narrow gap to try that. He's gone for the billiard. Now how's his luck? Well, he's got no luck. He can't make the pot and angle in the 1, and he can only really just roll up to it. If he rolls up to it, it's safe. And Acero, I think he can cut that 1 onto the rail and back over towards the 2 and get the cue ball up the table. If he misses a 9-ball, it'll be a good safety. But I think he's too close, and he looks very likely to nudge that 9. Well, he's avoided it, but he's scratched. So it's back to Larry with ball in hand. And just those little mistakes are what's costing Acero. Well, we've got 6 players, or 6 spectators in the room, and we've got 9 spectators in the stream. Well, that's slightly straight, so he's going to have to just nudge this cue ball around the angle. Well, would you like this shot into the middle pocket? This is tight. He's going to have to go in off the far jaw and avoid the 9. And no problem at all. And just tuck that 8 ball down the rail, cue ball back over to the left. And he's gone to the rail. So it's into a blind pocket. But he can cheat the pocket and still pot this. This isn't difficult. So Larry moves away again. Back to leading by 1. Acero breaking off. Oh, the 2 ball thought about going in. The 9 ball thought about going in. And it's come up dry. Now what does Larry do? Does he try and bank that 1 onto the 9? Or did you just nudge it onto the 2? He's going to nudge it on the 2, but look at the 3 ball. Well, the 1's gone in, and the worst thing's happened here. The 2 of them went in, so Larry can only play a safety, get tight onto the 5. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered. Acero can certainly easily kick the 3. I don't know whether he can kick it as good off that angle. He's got a lot of right on it. And he's got the right pace because it's safe. It's a good shot. But he'll probably find himself in trouble again if Larry can avoid scratching. He can try a delicate one and send a cue ball in there. Or he can try that way and avoid the 6 and get the cue ball up there and send a 3 ball in there. And he's not avoided the 6. That was always the problem with that shot. Now, if Acero just rolls up, he's going to find himself in trouble again. But I don't think he's got much option. He's trying to get an angle and get out of there, but he's scratched. Very awkward position to be in there. Now Larry can't get the 3-9 combo because the 7's the blocker, so he's going to have to run out or get the right hand side of that 4 ball and just play the 4-9 combo. So it's a deep draw onto the rail behind the 7. Well, no, he's leaving the thin cut. Well, he should get this, but I don't think I wouldn't have played that. Well, stranger things happen, don't they? And all he's done is set it up for Acero. And why Larry didn't play the deep draw, I mean, simple enough deep draw onto the rail, cue ball down there. And not the shot I would have played. And this looks dead and buried, this 9 ball. I don't see any problem. He's spending far too much time looking at this. The only problem for that though is that's why he's looking, because the 4's tight in the rail. Now I can see what the problem is. That is not easy. Very easy to push that off the rail. Well, he's flicked to 7. And now we've got a right mess going on. And he can cut the 4. But he needs to hit the 5. He needs to do something here, or this is going to go right out of shape for him. And the 4 is a tight squeeze past that 8. And it's all over. Well, that just went from bad to worse. It started off bad when Larry left himself high in the 4. And then Larry got lucky with the 4 going tight to the rail. I didn't notice that until I had a close look at the 4 ball. So it's all gone pear-shaped in that rack for Acero. And Larry's opening up a 2-rack gap, coming towards the business end of the match. So Larry breaking off in rack number 31, leading by 12 racks to 10. The 8 ball has gone. Now let's have a look. Well, the 1 ball goes. It's tight, but it goes. Oh, he's just nudged it to the jaw. And it's out in the open. Now this isn't an easy chance by no means, but it's a chance. And his first problem's getting that cue ball onto this too. And this is about judging the pace. And he needs to bounce, and that looks good. And his next problem is right in front of him. Getting on the 3. Now what's the angle like? Oh, he's close to the rail. He's got a slight angle, but it needs a good positional shot. Anywhere in that right hand side above the middle pocket, if he can get there, he's at least got a cut. He's almost there. Now you would think that if he gets this cut, the cue ball has to hit the 7 and he has to have a shot in the 4. If he comes off the wrong side of the 7 and he's missed the 7, but he's also missed the 3, and Larry, I think with a little bit of English, can, I don't know whether he can make the, can he make the potting angle as it is right now? No, he's doing a little bit of swerve. And that's a good shot. Oh dear, what's happened here though? Well, it's not over yet, this rack. And that's not an easy 4-ball to kick in because it's away off the rail a bit more than you would like. Yeah, he's just hoping to get it safe, I think. So here's Acero's chance once again. And this is dead straight. And he's trying to just stun and create an angle. And now he's going to hit the 9 and leave himself. Well, that's actually turned out quite well. He's looking good in the 6. These little runs here and there, they're the difference in running out when you're in these awkward situations. Now, he didn't get enough into that. He needed a lot more inside English to get that cue ball further over to the left, but then that made the shot a lot more difficult. He's gone more or less straight, so now he's going to have to work the cue ball. And that is very well taken. Played a little draggy shot in the 7 to hold for the 9. A brave shot. But he's back to trailing by 1. He's still hanging in there. 4-ball goes in. And he's no shot in the 1. And that's all the difference it can make from getting that run out or just getting yourself locked up with no shot. So once again, he needs a good push out. And that's not bad. He could be in trouble though, but that's a risk you have to take. Well, there's a glimmer of a chance here. He can pot the 1. Now if the cue ball avoids hitting the 8-ball, which it looks very likely that it will hit unless he does something with it, but the problem is he's close to the rail again. Couldn't avoid the 8. And now he's got himself in trouble. An easy kick on the 2. He might even kick and bank this in if he hits it hard enough. Well, if it had got to the rail, it would have been a good shot, but he's left that gap. And now Larry has to avoid blocking himself as well. So this is still in the balance. And he's found a gap. Well, now he has a problem. A very thin cut in this 5-ball. The cue ball is most certainly going up towards the 6. I presume he's playing... Oh, it's far too thin. Is he playing the bank? He's played the bank. And he's got away with it for the time being, but that 5-ball is sitting. Well, it would have been good for a bank, but for the 8-ball. And Acero trying to hide behind the 9. And he's got there. Well, this could be another one of these significant racks if Acero can win it. Now, we haven't seen a player try a jump with the playing cue simply because they don't get enough practice with it. But I mean, the fact that there's no jump cues doesn't mean you're not allowed to jump. Oh, there's a break. Larry's fluked to 5. It nudged off the rail onto the 6 and went in. And he has to be going for the bank again. I know he's going for the thin one. And in it goes. And he's going to have to dig out another great shot somewhere here. It could be the reverse bank on the 7. He could try that. He could try a very thin cut. He could bank it there. Or he could try and thin it in. Let's see what he does. Going for the bank. Didn't get it. He might have the second prize again. No, he hasn't. Well, I think at this stage in the rack, Acero has to go for the bank. I don't think he's got much other options here. Has to be all out to try and win this rack. He's misjudged it. And the 7's on. Oh, that wiped his feet, but it's gone in. And Larry's got the angle to drop behind the 9 for the 9 into the same pocket. And the 9's off the rail, so he should be okay. So once again, Larry opens up the 2-rack gap. But the only difference now is he only needs another 3. And the racks are running out for Acero. And he could have done with an easy starter. Well, 6 balls locked up with the 8 ball, so there's nothing doing there. So something has to give at the top end of the table. Well, that was maybe not the wisest of choices a shot by Acero, because he's went for the cut in the 1. Cue ball's nudged into the 6 and the 8 and opened it. But he's got the next best thing. He's got Larry hooked. Now, if Larry can't get this, then nudging the 6 has helped Acero. Well, Larry's got the 1, but he's opened it up. And that nudge on the 6 might work in Acero's favour if he can get to that 2 ball. And then there's worse to follow. He has to get on the 4. So this isn't an easy run out. Get that angle. And he's got it. And this needs a good judgment of pace. He's got a big gap to get into between the 8 ball and the 9 ball. And that looks good. He's judged that excellently, and he's got a perfect angle on the 4. Well, the nudge on the 6 and the 8 looks as if it's going to work in Acero's favour. Well, I would always want to run through, run around the corner, get the cue ball out into the table. It makes it a lot easier just to drill the 8 ball in and kill the cue ball. Just try and kill it stone dead. Well, he's playing it with top, running around. He's left himself a wee bit short. These are the wee nervy ones you don't want. I would have killed that stone dead, so that I'm looking down the barrel at the 9 ball, but he's got it. So it's back to 1, and Acero breaking in rack number 26. Oh dear, the only ball that's going down this time's the cue ball. Right, let's have a look at that 3 and 6. Well, the 3 doesn't go that way, but it goes that way. That's what Larry's checking out. He's checked both sides. You can see it only goes in past the 6. Plenty of room to get it past. So, well, Larry can go forward off the bottom rail and back up, or he can draw up. He has a choice. Well, he's going the short side of the 3 to leave it into the middle. Well, this is awkward. Awkward also because he's getting entirely the wrong angle to get to the 4. But can brush off that 6 ball and use the 6 ball to help the cue ball up the table. Well, you can see the potting angle. That's another tough one. This isn't easy. Oh dear. Oh, well. He's having to dig out the shots because he's getting out of line. And another good one needed. And it's straight into the heart of the pocket. So Larry is opening up the gap again to 2 racks, provided he can get from the 8 to the 9, which looks simple enough. And Larry will just be needing 2 more to move through to round 2. And Larry has the break. It's dry, but it's safe. And that's the frustrating thing as well when you're chasing a game, especially alternate break. Your opponent breaks, comes up dry, and you're left with no shot. Well, Larry's going to slam that one in. No doubt he's going to have a thin cut at that. And just hope he gets lucky and gets on the 2. No, he's decided he's pushing it back. Well, that one cuts in. And that's made up Acero's mind. He has to go for the thin cut. Now, well, that's unfortunate. 6 is blocking the pocket. So Acero's going to have to go long. And I'm surprised at Larry passing that back. You're 14-12 up. There's a chance to go for it. And he refused it, so he's putting the pressure on Acero in one way, but it's surprising he didn't take the bull by the horns himself and go for it. But that's yet to play out. If Acero cannot run out this rack, then Larry made the right choice. And the 8 ball is the problem. I mean, we can see it clearly goes. There isn't a problem there, but the problem is that 9 ball. It's just a hindrance. It just plays in your mind when you're trying to get onto that 8 ball. And Acero needs an angle on the 7. He doesn't want to go straight. He wants to be playing this 7 so that the cue ball's coming out. Let's see what he's got. Well, I think he's got enough there. He's got enough. Oh, well, I thought he had enough. And maybe he thought about stealing a bit too much there. Let's see what that 7 looks like. Well, that does cut. It's thin. Well, Larry's got the same problem, though, with this 9 ball. And, well, surely Acero's got to try and kick this in. He could try the little swerve. Or can he actually see it? No, he can't. Can he get past that 8? Yes, he can. That was very, very dicey. But he's got it. He must have zoomed in as close as I did to look and see whether he could hit it. But it's another one back for Acero. Now, because he's Japanese, it might be Acero. Acero. I'm saying Acero. It could be Acero. Get the pronunciation right one way or another. And the 7 ball is gone. He's sitting high and dry on the 1. And look at the rest of these balls. These are just waiting to be knocked into a hole. And we could end up having a finish like last night's match between Albinario and Mr. Bill. It went all the way. And this has got the makings of doing exactly the same, provided Acero can run out get past the 5. Well, he's nudged it. That's even better. Saves any hindrance. Well, a straight. He's leaving the cut. Now these are always little testers. These are a test of your nerve. It looks easy enough any other day of the week. And a little gentle roll in the 8. No, nothing more ambitious than that, and just leave the 9 down the rail. And what this will mean is we're back to a tied ball game. We're at 14 all, and we've got Larry breaking off in rack number 29. And Larry's came up dry. The 1 doesn't pass the 3. So it's just got to be a safety. Maybe try and hide the cue ball behind the 5 if he just nudges the 1 down the rail. When he's gone for the other way, that's just as effective. Now there might be a tiny edge of the 1 showing. Oh, that's really tiny. But Larry's got it. How's his luck? Well, this is a chance. It'll be a better chance if he can cut it and get on that too. Well, if you're going to miss it bad and leave it safe. Now, what's Larry thinking here? Well, it looks as if he's going for the safety. How's that worked out? Well, that 6 ball's a good guide for Acero playing the safety. If he can get this 1 thin and get the cue ball distant from the 1 ball. It needs to run. And he's not got there. Now, the plan is, or the plan was, to see this match out and then see the next match, which is between Shibo and Hazard. There's a slight problem there in the fact that this match looks as if it's going all the way, and we're 5 minutes or so to go before the next match starts. The other slight problem is I've had nothing to eat yet since I got home from work. And I need to get my dinner. So, what I'm planning to do is... Oh, Larry's hung it up. What I'm planning to do is as soon as this match finishes, I'm going to kill the stream. And I'm going to nip downstairs and get something to eat fairly quickly, and I should be back no later than 15 minutes. So we'll miss the start of the match, but provided the match goes ahead, that is. I have to double check the two players are in the lobby. But we're going to see this match out first. And I'll be back to get most of the next match, which, as I say, starts in 5 minutes. Meanwhile, back to business. Acero at the table at his mercy on the 5 ball. No problem getting on the 6. Well, he's got to just roll through, surely. 7 passes a 9. I think it does anyway. I never looked, but I'm assuming it does. Well, he's went the other way and tried to force it across. I don't think it was ever on. Well, what does he do now? Just uses the 9 ball as a blocker, nudges 7 towards the 9 and try and get distance. Or is he trying to play something fancy? Well, I'd be playing this with lots of left-hand English, cutting that 7 towards the 9 and getting the cue ball down into this corner. Just feather the 7 ball. That would be my idea. He needs to watch the clock. Well, it's all gone wrong. In the end, he was rushed into it because of the shot clock. And the shot clock, to be honest with you, isn't long enough for this tournament either. That's another mistake. It should be a 40-second shot clock with a 15-second extension. Players, when it gets to this stage of the match, they need that little bit of time to do some thinking, especially with the shot that Acero had. And in the end, he was rushed into playing something, and he's almost got away with it. And Larry's hit the 7 sweet into the pocket. But certainly, 1 or 2 players have agreed that the time settings for the match, in terms of the shot clock, are not generous enough. And Larry's just got on the 9. So this for 15-14. And it goes. And I think the break goes back to Acero. Yes, it does. So Larry's on the hill. Acero with the break, trailing 15-14. Needs a ball in the break. The 4 balls going in. But look at where the 1 and the 9 are. But the 1... Oops, wrong button. The 1 cuts, and he'd be very unlucky not to be on the 2 where the 2 ball's sitting. So this is no guts, no glory type shot coming up. He's into his extension, and that might be something he doesn't want to be leaving himself with any other shots, because he's now just running on the 30-second shot clock. So if he needs any time to think, he ain't got it. And his next problem is getting on the 3. 3 obviously pots past the 6. There isn't a problem there. Oh, that jaw. Well, it's awkward. It is an awkward cut. The pressure's on. The cue ball's heading towards the right middle pocket. He doesn't want to block himself out with the 8 ball. And that was asking a bit too much, unfortunately. So here's Larry's chance. to clinch the match. Well, I think Acero's paid the price for that shot clock and that shot that he had. The safety he was trying to work out, and ran out of time, ended up having to rush into playing the shot, and in the end that's cost him. But Larry's got he's still got a problem here. This is not guaranteed. Oh, the nudge on the 8, and he's nudged it onto the rail, and it's tight. It's not over yet, folks. That 8's tight in the rail. And Larry will be trying to get this cue ball as close to the rail as he can. That's exactly what he was trying. He's pretty much got what he set out to do. And now he's looking to draw back past that middle pocket and leave that 9 into the opposite corner. And that's pretty much where he wanted to be. So this 9 for the match. And in it goes. And so Larry from the USA has beaten Acero from Japan by 16 racks to 14, and Larry moves through to round 2. Acero moves over to the 1 loss side. And that will update on the brackets in a second or two. And you can see the other match is underway. And that's the match I'm going to be streaming as soon as I have had my dinner. Right, so folks, thanks for those that were watching. I am going to kill the stream. I'm going to go and get a quick bite to eat, and I'll be back for the Hazard Shibo match. So thanks to those that were watching, and if you're going to rejoin us in a little while, I'll see